Hello, this is Chris Pickard at Body Imbalance in Hertfordshire, and this week I have been asked to speak about Irritable Bowel Syndrome, or IBS. Not to be confused with the harsher inflammatory bowel syndromes and inflammatory bowel conditions like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Having said that, irritable bowels can then lead on to inflammatory bowel conditions. So what is IBS? Well, really, it's this mixture of, maybe you've got some bloating, maybe you've got some pain in your stomach, hardening in your stomach, maybe you've got constipation, diarrhea, maybe it's going up and down, changing from one to the other, and it's all just started. Now, the medical diagnosis of IBS is quite simply, you've got bloating, you've got some pain, you've got some hardening in your stomach, and you've either got a change in your bowel habit to constipation or a change to diarrhea. I know this isn't nice if you're just sitting down for your lunch, but of course, if you're a healthcare professional like myself, then you take all this in your stride. So hello, Kelly, Carol, and Louise. So for those of you watching on YouTube later, this was recorded on Facebook Live. And now the other diagnostic criteria is that you're passing mucus in your bowel. Okay, and hello, Joanne. So the main thing though, the real big thing though, is if you have all of these problems and you haven't seen someone, you need to go and see someone, especially if there's blood happening. You really need to go to your GP. Okay, that's the most important thing, and that's the thing you really need to get checked. Now, let's say, however, that I'm talking to people who've been diagnosed with IBS. So what is the cause of IBS? Well, when you go onto the NHS website, which, by the way, the NHS website is actually full of generally pretty good information for all kinds of things, and it's got some good general information about IBS, which I'll go through very quickly. But the actual understanding on the NHS website, the experts in IBS say this, that it's caused by bowel sensitivity and some problem of digestion. Yes, exactly. That's what people are going for. My bowels are sensitive and I'm having a problem digesting some foods. Well, this is caused by your bowels being sensitive and you've got a problem digesting your food. It's ridiculous. And it's because medicine is absolutely fantastic and amazing at saving you from dying. But what it's not good at is it's not good at preventing the whole downward slope into the fact that you then will need medicine and saving from dying. So what causes the increased sensitivity? Well, we know, for instance, that, and this is on the NHS website, that it's often down to eating a load of rubbish year after year. So having Coke and crisps and pre-prepared foods and processed foods. Hello, Lisa. All of these things, all of this processed food year after year, it's going to build up. It's going to cause problems. It's like if you constantly, don't wash and you put all kinds of rubbish on your skin all the time, it's going to get irritated at some point. Oh, sorry you can't hear, Louise. Some of the things that the NHS website recommends: if you're constipated, have some more of one kind of fibre. If you've got diarrhea, change to a different type of fibre. So that's either soluble or insoluble fibres. Avoid the crap food as well. Avoid the foods that basically give you all the symptoms, because that's another thing, is the fact that either your bowels, you start having problems after you eat, or they're relieved by you going to the loo, or when you go to the loo you don't feel like you're getting rid of everything. So the NHS website also talks about probiotics, getting the right kind of bacteria that should be living in your gut. And remember, if you've ever had antibiotics, they would have killed all of your good bacteria as well, so you need to put the right ones back in. And they also talk about the FODMAP diet. Now, the FODMAP diet is, again, it's brilliant that it's on the NHS website. The FODMAP diet stands for fermentable oligosaccharides. So these are basically fermentable carbohydrates. Now, all carbohydrates, all sugars are basically fermentable, but some of them are less easy to digest and they can actually start fermenting in the gut. And so you go on what's called a low FODMAP diet. You go on a diet full of foods that are low in fermentable oligosaccharides. So, for instance, I love apples and I love celery, but they're actually both high FODMAP. So for some people, celery and apples is not going to be a good idea temporarily. But again, the FODMAP diet can give your gut a rest if this is caused by fermentation in your gut. So if you've got a lot of bloating, it's probably a good sign that your gut is having a problem actually fermenting or digesting some foods. So the real answer, of course, is it's not about going and avoiding all these foods. It's why is your gut not digesting these things? One of them is because you've been chronically malnourished by feeding yourself rubbish for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But you've got to also think of things like parasites, toxins that are building up in your system, and as you're then trying to get rid of them, the toxins are released into your gut and they irritate the gut. You can also get the wrong kind of bacteria living in your small intestine, and the wrong kind of bacteria in your small intestine are actually often the right bacteria in other parts of your gut. So probiotics can make you feel worse if you've got bacteria in the wrong places. So the real answer to irritable bowel syndrome is find the cause, remove the cause. So whether it's toxins, you need to go on a detox. If it's parasites, you've got to remove the parasites. Once you've removed the cause, you can look at repairing the gut and then re-inoculating it with the right gut bacteria. And so there are a few things that I recommend that I'm quite happy to recommend to everyone in general. Try something like bone broth. Or if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you can try just vegetable broths. Now they're not as healing to the gut as bone broths. So if you want to try something medicinally, it's obviously less of an impact than trying to eat red meat, which again, red meat's not going to help heal your gut. But bone broths and vegetable broths are going to be really good. Hello Lisa from the USA. Good morning to you there. And hello James Harley. And we have a little Suman Kuchal. I haven't had fizzy drinks for more than a year. Had a glass of Pepsi Max, aka Poison, and was up in the night with leg cramps. Yes, exactly. It's all a load of rubbish in there. So yeah, bone broths and vegetable broths will help. And also the first thing to help restore the right bacteria in your gut, there's actually something called Restore. It was designed by an American doctor who's triple board certified in all kinds of different things. And yeah, there's a supplement, it's just called Restore, and it's for not just gut health, it's for overall health, and it helps repair your gut, because what happens over time with a lot of bad insults on your gut is your gut actually becomes leaky, just like it was when you were first born. It had holes in it, and these holes allow food, undigested food, to get onto the inside of your body and start fermenting. So, hello Bodil Frischhoff, who I went to college with 20 years ago. So, yes, so we've covered the leaky gut, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and you want to rest your gut, which is why the low FODMAP diet can be really useful. But you also want to try healing the gut, re-inoculating the gut as well. It can be really complicated sometimes, but if you start doing something now, and one thing I do recommend for everyone if they've got gut problems is try going vegan as well. Veganism is, it can have amazing benefits on bringing down inflammation in not just your gut, but in every single part of your body. So lots and lots of things to try there, okay? We've got that Kate Caruth, yellow cast syndrome. That's the second time I've heard about bone broth, yes. Cheryl, just sent post you, weird enough, you recommended this 2 months ago. Hey, Restore, that is, yes, and bone broths, fantastic. Lisa, I am a newborn after all that cancer. Yes, and I know you detox, which is fantastic. And James Harley, does exercise help IBS? Yes, there's all sorts of things that can help IBS, because again, stress can be a major factor in breaking your gut down, and exercise blows off stress. So exercise, as long as you're not doing too much, because if you go over a certain amount for you, you're going to start an inflammatory cascade. And so little amounts of exercise are good, because a little bit of inflammation creates more healing response, but too much inflammation will cause you to crash. Other things that will help IBS, mindfulness, breathing techniques, pretty much the whole of the Magnificent Seven, as usual, because it can be coming from irritable bowels, can often be caused by irritable nerves in your back. So it can be related to your back pain. It can be related to neck problems as well. What else can IBS be related? Pretty much everything, really. But yeah, you've got to get your food right, got to get relaxation right. Now, there was one other thing, James, when you asked me about exercise, it reminded me about something else. Not meditation, not getting rid of it. Oh well, never mind. It will probably come back to me when I post this out in an email to everyone next week. Well, thank you very much for watching, everyone. And again, if you have a health topic that you would like me to cover for next week, then put it in the comments or PM me and I'll cover it next week. Okay, so anything else? Have I just stopped? No, I haven't accidentally stopped it. That's it, I think. Okay, all right. Be well, live long and prosper, everyone. And Lisa, try the low FODMAP diet because at least that's something easy and quick to do. Okay, stretching for IBS. That was the other thing I wanted to say about IBS is some people find that eating small frequent meals will help decrease the symptoms of IBS, and some people will find that actually doing intermittent fasting will get rid of the IBS. Everyone's a little bit different, okay? Stretching, yeah, like everything, stretching is going to be good for your muscles and maybe it will relax you. Okay, stomach massage as well. That's it for now. I'm going to get off and I'm going to do the broadcast in the My365 group now. And if you're watching this years later on YouTube and you don't know what My365 is, just Google My365 and Pickard and you'll find out. Be well.